Hey, Real Nerds. There's many ways to enjoy the Real Nerds podcast. You can listen to us on Stitcher, iTunes, and now Spotify and iHeartRadio. You can see what we're up to around town by following us at Real Nerds on Instagram. And if you want to send us your thoughts, you can email us at realnerds@gmail.com or call us at 720-6nerds5. Like us on Facebook at Real Nerds Podcast or tweet us at Real Nerds. And now on with the show.
Roll camera, action!
Well, a real nerd knows who shot, and a real nerd can follow the plot, and a real nerd can
talk through film. I'm sorry.
Take it outside.
Well, a real nerd knows who shot, and a real nerd can follow the plot, and a real nerd will give it all they got. Lights, camera, action. Real nerds.
This is Real Nerds Podcast, the best movie podcast on the internet. And I'm pretty sure we're one of just like 5 of them. I'm Ryan, and joining me for 12 years now is Brad.
Hey. What's up?
What's a horse's favorite meal?
I don't know.
Hey.
Oh. You can't do that to me. My brain still hurts.
Every week we see a new movie and we podcast our experience to the world. This week we saw John Wick, Chapter 4. Stay tuned because we will tell you if we recommend the film or not, play the trailer, and then talk about and spoil the film. We also dive into stuff we've been watching and some movie news. Brad, you seem like you're on the mend, but you still have like a frog in your throat, it sounds like.
Yeah, my voice sounds all weird, but otherwise I'm fine.
Just like the last remnants, huh?
I guess so.
I mean, you've only been sick for like 2 months, so.
1 month. Thank you.
And that's weird. You didn't even fly on an airplane. Usually that's a telltale sign when you're going to get sick.
Yeah, but you know, my Instacart job, I'm just constantly out and about in front of other people, so.
True.
Bound to run into somebody who's just coughing and spit. Actually, quite often I'll be in an aisle and someone will just like full on, cough or sneeze right in front of everyone else with like complete impunity. It doesn't cover the mouth. It's just like, you are a 40-year-old person. You're disgusting.
I had this really weird interaction yesterday when I was at a grocery store. I was checking out and the kid who was doing the checkout has a mental disability, but he was working really hard. And he told me, he said, "Today's been a really tough day for me." And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, bud." He said, "Yeah, one of our baristas died." I don't know what to say. Said, "Oh, that's really tough." And then he said, "Yeah, she's only 30 years old and she has a 5-year-old kid. I mean, what's that kid going to think, that her mom's dead?" Oh my God. What's happening?
Yeah, roped into some drama. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my weird day. And I just don't think the kid understood, maybe you don't talk to strangers about that stuff.
Yeah. And it's like one of those like company policies, like I don't know, I think
yeah, like I don't think that's what you should be saying to me. Like, in my job, if I find like a dead body, I don't tell anybody.
I know you don't take pictures and send them to your friends like, no. Hey, look how my day's going.
You know what? When I'll tell you a horrible story, and I'll leave out names and like the agency and stuff, but I do investigations backgrounds for people that are prospective hires. And this one guy worked at another police department and he got dismissed. And when I did his background, it was literally that. He took a picture of a crime scene with a body and sent it to one of his friends. Like, dude, what the fuck?
Wow.
Yeah, I did not hire that person. And all I could think of, and this is the bad person in me, is that meme where that dude's like standing next to the grave giving like the peace sign.
Yeah,
Greg
Gustin. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I can think of.
Pretty accurate.
But I'm like, well, I don't know why that would possess anybody to do that. And I don't know. It was a really unusual and awkward conversation. I didn't know what to say.
Hey, I don't trust you to do your job properly. It seems pretty easy,
Yeah.
given that you're like sharing confidential information to your buds. Like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that guy. Yeah. But I mean, the kid, when I was checking out, I didn't even
oh,
know what to say to him. I was just in there. Okay. Yeah.
yes,
Bummer.
it's so weird how lax, like when I was doing that kind of job, I was told like, you know, don't get in customers' ways, like them get to the whatever they're doing first. And like when I'm shopping, I'm constantly being like interrupted by like carts like being pushed around, and I don't know, it's just
Yeah. 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 I mean, I don't think the kid like meant to do it. I mean, just, but it's just really awkward.
yeah.
And I don't know what to say to that. And yeah, that's my story for the day. I just didn't know what to say to him anymore.
Just go all in and like, how did they die?
I'm
Give me more
good.
details.
Anywho, this week we saw John Wick Chapter 4. Brad, do you recommend the fourth chapter of John Wick?
Oh my God. Yeah, a 2.5 hour movie that's 2 hours of straight action. Wow, that was pretty incredible. Yeah, if it's really just a conclusion movie, so there's no setup for new stuff. There's very little dialogue. It's all about resolutions, and yeah, really, yes, I'm not kidding. Like 2 hours of straight action fights. And it's gorgeous to look at. A lot of it's pretty creative, and yeah, it's great.
I agree 100% with you. I think it's tons of fun. The 2.5 hours actually fly by.
Hmm.
And
And I wanted more.
yeah,
When it got to the end, I was like, "Aw, keep
but what's
going."
cool, well, I guess we'll talk about in the ending is really cool, and I'll explain why in the spoiler part. But yeah, it's super cool. And I read an article today that Keanu Reeves says like 380 words in the whole movie.
Yeah,
It's only like 100 lines of dialogue, which
that's all
I
he
guess
needs.
which he purposely made happen. So I think that's cool. Kind of like Nicolas Cage in Drive Angry. Anywho, here's the trailer for John Wick Chapter 4.
This hit goes out to you, Mr. Wick.
42 regular, wasn't it?
Yeah. And so it begins.
Yeah. I'm living in this time behind enemy lines, so I got mine. I hope you
Challenge you to single combat.
If you win, you'll have your freedom.
And when I see you, I'ma take what I want, so
Amen.
you ain't real, hope y'all feel the wrath of Miller. Many try, many die, if you wanna war, get it bloody.
C'est pas pour les gars. Come on.
The only way John Wick will ever have freedom and peace is in death.
Yeah. Not really.
The fourth chapter of John Wick picks up right after the third one, where, if you remember, John Wick was shot by the manager off the Continental and falls to his not death, where he's picked up by the Bowery King, played by Lawrence Fishburne. And then he goes in underground and punches a board really hard. And I don't know why.
He's getting psyched up for his 2-hour fight.
True. And yeah, so Lawrence Fishburne shows up after, I don't know how much time has passed, and he's like, hey, still a 42 long, or just has a suit or something. And then Keanu Reeves just looks at the camera, and then the next shot is him chasing down dudes and shooting them on horseback. Because he's going back to the elder that took his finger in the last one. And
was it the same guy? Because I thought he said, like, I'm an elder, but I'm not the one from last time.
Yeah, I mean, I can't place him, even though I watched it at Alamo and they had that like 30-minute recap. I couldn't even remember. I was like, is that the same guy? I don't know. But yeah, so then anyways, he goes on a mission to kill everybody, and guns. I need lots of guns. And Bill Skarsgård's there. And he's some French dude who's the Marquis de
Gramont.
And I guess he's part of this table that I don't remember ever hearing about before, but I guess
they're the high table.
Yeah. So full disclosure, I've seen the movies and I've watched them a couple times. I still don't really know what the fuck is going on.
I really think it's a world that is just populated by assassins.
Yeah, that's all I can think of. I just remember the first one was like, why do they get Mario coins all the time? And and this one they have the coins, but because John Wick was given this special coin, he can ask for a favor. I don't know what the fuck's going on. All I know is that these assassins are trying to kill him because he tried to get out, and they killed his dog in the first one, and he's still pissed about it. And then they try to kill him, so he's even more pissed.
Well, for this one,
they kill the concierge. What the fuck?
Well, for this one, he sets off the Marquis de Gramont because he kills someone like a high elder, so that gets the attention of the high table. And then meanwhile, Winston is being punished for letting him escape. So they destroy his hotel and murder, what's his name?
Yeah, the concierge, or I forget what's his real name in the film? Like Chirac or something?
Yeah, Sharon. I think
Sharon, there we go.
Yeah.
Which is really sad because, I mean, it was a little, because, Lance Reddick died, I don't know, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, man.
Little premonition, yeah.
Yeah, but, yeah, and then he just, dude, the action's fucking incredible in this film. And I need to get myself, one of those suits they have. All you have to do is like hold it up and it stops every fucking bullet.
Yeah, I think they set that up in the second one.
They did.
Yeah.
But I like that. I like the aesthetic of the film too. There's lots of like reds and blues and greens depending on where they're at.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous.
During the fights. Oh yeah. The fight in the Continental Osaka was freaking dope.
Yeah. But going back to the suits, it's interesting they're not trying for more headshots, given that they all know that they have like special Kevlar suits. They're just like still shooting in the chest and everything.
But you see, they dodge with their head really fast. So,
but the fights are gorgeous, and I'm not kidding. Like, it's like half an hour to an hour long stretches of just straight up action scenes.
And like the characters are cool because John Wick is cool because he's like this silent assassin who's he kind of just takes care of business. And then when they introduce the other assassins, they each have their own little quirk.
Yeah, there's
Donnie Yen is Kane, who's blind. It's like his fight in the kitchen is fucking awesome.
I know he busts out those like sensors so they can alert him to when people are moving. That was great.
And it's cool too if he's such a great actor and so great in this fighting. If you watch him as he's going, you can see him use his actual cane to feel around and see where things are at. And dude, it's super impressive watching him act and fight. And I just thought it was dope.
Yeah.
And even Haruki Sanada, he's badass as, Scorpion. And he's super cool in this. He's just he's like one of those actors I always like seeing in films because I think he has such a presence.
Mhm.
And he's also fucking badass.
And then there's that other assassin who's got the dog with him.
Yeah, the tracker guy.
Yeah. It's
Where
fun to
all
like
he
watch.
does is he's just waiting for the bounty on Wick to go up.
Yep. So he'll change allegiances to make that happen. So if Wick needs his help, he'll help him. And if, the payment's right, he'll go after Wick. And
Yeah,
it was fun watching that trade off. And then, also watching him by the end team up with Donnie Yen. Cause like that's the solution is to kill each other. But the fact that they're forced in a position where they have to work together to get to that point was like great.
Exactly. Because Kane, he doesn't want to do it, but they're forcing him because they're threatening to kill his daughter. And so he doesn't want to fight either.
Yeah.
And, the culmination of it, we're skipping quite a bit, but the fight on the stairs in Paris, holy shit.
Twice. Yeah.
Twice, where they help each other. I guess the whole Paris sequence is incredible. But they even I just love that each moment of the film and each fight is so unique.
Yeah.
So you start kind of at the beginning where he's tracking people down, and then when you go to Japan, it's in that, like, I don't know, artifact room.
Yeah.
And it's cool. And then when they go to Russia or something, I think it's Russia, and he fights like that, like, super obese dude who's really good.
Which I guess is like a famous stunt guy in a fat suit. But that's the other thing is like with that world, I think it's just assassins because everyone dancing seems nonplussed about what's going on. Like all these people are being murdered around them and they're just still dancing.
Yeah, there's
yeah, that was a brutal fight.
So it's Scott Adkins, and he's
been in like a lot of Van Damme stuff.
Yeah, he's in tons of stuff. You're right. Yeah, he's like you're right. He's like a big stunt guy. So that's cool. And that fight was awesome because, people are expecting like the super fat guy to not be good. And he's like this badass martial artist. And,
yep.
And when I saw that in the theaters and when he died, people in my theater went, "Oh shit."
Yeah, he falls right on his cranium.
Yeah. And then, when he gets to Paris, man, it's that. So the Arc de Triomphe fight is fucking sweet, where they're fighting in between all the cars.
Yeah, which again,
yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
it lasts for so long and no one pulls over
or stops driving. There's like, I need to get where I need to go.
I must get to my bakery.
You
must go make some cheese.
So that's badass. But the next part where he goes into the abandoned warehouse or whatever, or apartment complex
for the top-down fight.
Yeah, like the top-down fight. It reminded me a lot of those old school isometric video games where you have to clean out a room with the bad guys and you're shooting guns and random things.
Yeah.
And he got that shotgun that lit people on fire after they got shot.
Yep.
I mean, it seems extra, but it looks cool.
Yeah, it's just amazing to watch. And then he jumps out of another high rise and lands on the ground okay, which I was like, this dude's a superhero, but I'm still in.
I think with these movies, because I think the world building is really dense and you have to keep so many things in order. Like I said, I still am not sure 100% what's going on with all the fluff. I mean, I know that they're trying to stop John Wick. I get that. He's trying to be free. That's basically all you need to know. But the other stuff, I feel like I'm missing things. I don't know.
I'm still confused as to why the manager of Osaka's hotel, like, why Donnie killed him at all. Like, didn't seem like he was much of an impediment to, like, getting to John Wick, Like, John had already escaped.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's because to show he means business. I don't know. Your
Yeah.
guess is as good as mine.
Well, if you stay for the end credits, it kind of bites him in the ass, but yeah.
Yeah, which I don't know if it's setting up a spin-off or what, but I mean, I'd see a whole movie just called Kane with him.
Yeah.
I think it'd be awesome. But yeah, that top-down fight, and then then they fight on the stairs, and then I really like that the last fight was just literally a duel because it slowed everything down, but it was like really suspenseful, and you could feel the tension. Um, it was just a really cool way to end the movie.
Yeah. I was constantly sitting there wondering like how he gets out of this, and spoilers, he kind of doesn't.
No, I mean, one of his longest exchanges in the whole movie is where a loving husband. That's what I want on my gravestone. A loving husband. And I mean, John Wick dies at the end, and he's buried next to his wife with that gravestone.
Which I was totally surprised by because he got shot and then he gets his revenge, but then he walks away. I'm like, well, yeah, he's alive and he's hurt, but he'll be fine. And he sits on the steps. And I was like, oh my, they're actually going to kill John Wick. What?
Yeah,
Okay.
it takes balls, and I mean, obviously they have a way out for sure, because you never actually see like him buried or anything. It could be like MacGruber. He shows up and he digs out the coffin and it's full of guns.
Yeah, I guess it could just be for appearances, but
I did read that the producers of it are begging Keanu Reeves to come back. I wonder why.
well, I think he's going to be in that ballerina show or movie, but
yeah,
I think they should just let it go because
I think so too. I mean, I think the 4 are cool. It has a cool arc, and I do applaud the filmmakers for being that ballsy. My biggest complaint about the Batman is they had a chance to kill Alfred and make it mean something, and they didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I still love that film. I'm just saying that was the one little critique I had of it, where they could have killed Alfred, and if it stuck, it would have been huge. This film fucking kills John Wick, and I think if they stick to it, I think it's a pretty great series. And having 4 films over 10, 11 years, I think is a good run.
Yeah, because you'd have to start some new trauma for him to get him back in the game. And so, like, that would just diminish. They wrapped everything up in this one. Like, there's no reason to, like, open that book. Like, you'd be signing on for another 3 or 4 films to accomplish that. And just, it seems kind of weak and an obvious cash grab.
Yeah, I think they're safer if they want to continue to do the world like this. And I get that they might think that Keanu Reeves he's going to be hard to replace, but I mean, they're doing that ballerina spinoff. I'd see a movie with Kane,
Yeah, I feel like you've fleshed out a pretty deep enough world at this point. You can just focus on other things within it.
Because I think it'd be cool if you start a Kane movie picking up right where the end credits tag is, where that lady goes to stab him and then they just break out in a huge fight. And then
he gets away from it somehow.
Gets away from it, and her mission is to track him down, and she sends assassins after him or something.
Yeah.
And then he's the one who gets the bounty. I think that'd work.
Yeah. And you can learn more about the whole continental system and...
Yeah, call me Lionsgate. I'm free. Ish. So yeah, no, this movie's fucking awesome. I had a lot of fun seeing it.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite of the 4.
It's definitely my favorite. I like the other ones a lot, but this one's definitely my favorite of the 4. Because I think it's super creative and it's balls to the wall, like awesome.
Yeah, like this is the one I think of, like if I want to go back and watch anything, it's this collection of stunts and cinematography. Like that's, yeah.
And movies like this just prove there should be a stunt category in the Academy Awards. Recognize how fucking hard these dudes worked on this movie,
Yeah, it's incredible at this point that they still haven't gotten around to, with all the changes they made to the Academy in the past few years, they still haven't bothered to include it. Like, I'm sure it's like, oh, we don't want the show to be even longer, if by adding awards, but still, it's like such an important part of their industry.
Exactly.
And yeah, I don't know how you'd vote on that, like,
yeah,
from a
I don't know
quality
either,
perspective, but yeah, it's still like they should get, like, that part of the business should be included somehow.
I agree.
In that celebration.
I agree. Because the ironic thing is they're even doing them during the show when they do, dance numbers and choreographed stuff during the show. I'm like, they're really doing stunt work here.
Yeah.
But, what do we know? Nothing.
Maybe they're just afraid that Tom Cruise will sweep it every year.
Well, it's kind of,
we're just going to make an award for Tom Cruise?
Yeah, they should call it the Tom Cruise Stunt Award.
Yeah. Like the Irving G. Thalberg Award, yeah.
I still think Top Gun should have won Movie of the Year, but that's just me. And that's not to take away from Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think that's a great film, but I think Top Gun is the best movie of the year.
Well, if you think about it, like, I don't know if I'd want to win Best Picture every year, because if you look at the list of, like, how many people are watching those Best Pictures over and over again.
Yeah.
Like, they're great, but they're not exactly people's go-tos for
That's what
rewatches.
I know they don't really matter in the long run, but I always think that's always going to be the Academy's biggest hang-up, is they're so pretentious and they're so, like, into themselves that they will never let a film like that win. You hear them talk about it all the time. They purposely didn't want Angela Bassett to win for Wakanda Forever because it's a comic book movie. And all right. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But what do we know? Nothing. We're not part of that elitist group.
Eventually those old Hollywood types, they'll be gone and the new people will.
Yeah.
It's naturally going to happen.
I do see the cracks in it because that RRR's song won music of best song of the year, and a couple other things that come through. I go, oh wow, they're actually diversifying.
Yeah, and Everything Everywhere All at Once is still kind of like a subversive, action movie. So
yeah, it's one of those films that I would never thought could win, because you're right, it's literally a comic book movie, but it's
classier.
Yeah, because it's supposedly classier. I don't know about Two Rocks Talking is classier than anything I've seen in Spider-Man, but and I'm not knocking that film. I'm just saying that their view, I think, is very nearsighted to what they think is a good movie. Because stuff like Crash, that movie's a piece of shit. The English Patient is fucking boring.
Green Book. Yeah.
Green Book. There's so many instances where, why did Black Panther not beat Green Book? You know what I mean? So, anywho, let's unpack some movie news.
It's real news.
Not much in the way of Hollywood, but I did watch the gameplay trailer for the new Legend of Zelda, and it looks really interesting. Did you have a chance to see it, Brad?
I haven't. I just woke up before we did this podcast.
Oh man! So
I got excited when I saw the promo for Asteroid City, and that's all I got fixated on.
The game looks incredible, and the big new gameplay mechanic, because I know you played Breath of the Wild for like 800 hours.
Of course, it's the minimum amount you have to play that game for.
Yeah, totally. But this new Link has a couple new abilities, and one is he can now fuse objects together, and by fusing objects together, creates stronger weapons. Or the producer of the game was showing that. So he went to attack an enemy and he hit it with a stick, and in the Breath of the Wild, the sticks break really easily. So he showed you how you had to kill this one weak enemy with 2 sticks, and because they break. And then he picked up a stick and fused it with a rock to make a hammer and made it a stronger weapon. And then he went around and he put a mushroom on his shield. And then when the enemy hit it, it created like a smoke cloud to confuse the enemy. And then Link ran behind him and was able to slash him with his sword for an easy kill. And you can fuse other objects in the land to make it either a vehicle or some other object. It's pretty cool.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, and he was showing this says, yeah, because the stamina was the hardest thing to get used to in Breath of the Wild for me. And he was showing that it's still there, but now you have tools to help you traverse the world. Because he was showing this huge river, and he built a boat with some logs and this fan by fusing them all together, and he's able to go across.
Wow.
Yeah, and he also has this recall power where there's islands that are above the world, and if you watch, you can see rocks fall from the islands, and then when you find that rock, you use his recall power, and it takes you up to the islands that are above. He also has the ability to, if there's a ceiling, you can like go through the ceiling and on top of it. So that's a way to get to the top of mountains too. If there's an actual ceiling to the mountain and you can go through a cave. So there's ways to traverse the world faster, and it looks freaking incredible. He also announced that it's done and it's gonna be released when they said, so that's cool too.
Better be. I already ordered it.
Yeah.
So I'm watching it right now. So it looks like it's the same map as the original game, but just new stuff in it, and obviously the sky parts.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I was saying before that they should just keep the same map or either extend it past where you couldn't go before or add on to it. So
yeah, and that's what it kind of looks like, because it looks like it's bigger. There's a part in that gameplay where he jumps off one of those islands, and it looks gigantic, the world. So yeah, it looks really fun, and it's one of the most impressive games that's on the Switch for sure. And what I love about the Zelda series is they're always so good at innovating and taking what you like about the previous entry and building on it, whether it's Ocarina of Time to Majora's Mask, and now Breath of Wild to Tears of the Kingdom, I think is really cool.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
I'm perfectly fine with developers taking their time and putting out the best possible thing than trying to meet a deadline because they think the fans just need to be satiated.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing. So there's two companies that I love for this. One is Nintendo, because they might tease you a little bit with the new Legend of Zelda game, but they don't put a date out until they know that they can meet it. Mm-hmm. And the guys who make Mortal Kombat are the same way. So there's a new Mortal Kombat supposed to come out this year, and they didn't want to announce it because usually what happens is Ed Boon will announce it, and then the game comes out like in 3 months because they're almost done with it. Which I think is a cool way to do it. Instead of, how many times, it's a running joke now with Assassin's Creed, where like, it's coming out this year, and then they postpone it, or even the new Suicide Squad game.
Yeah.
It's so just,
we were just talking recently. You were just talking recently about how there has been a sequel to Mario Odyssey, since the Switch came out, and it's like, hopefully that's because they're just trying to make like the next, like instead of just making an Odyssey 2 with like, hey, it's the same game but new, maps and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to figure out how to like make their weapon fuse addition to it. Like, how's it going to be different? And so if that takes like 5 or 6 years, then so be it.
Exactly. And we can be okay because just like, Link appears in, other games, whether it's, what's the Hyrule one?
Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah. So he's in that, or Mario's in the Rabbids, or, Mario Kart, or, new Super Mario Brothers. But yeah, I'm cool with them taking their time if they make a cool game. because I'd rather have that. I'd rather have an experience, and I think that's why Nintendo is the best video game developer on the planet, because no matter what, all their games is an experience. And I can't wait for that game. I really can't.
I just watched the add an eyeball to an arrow and it'll become a homing arrow.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, there's just like ways to help. My only criticism of Breath of the Wild is I thought the controls got cumbersome at some points. But if you play it enough, you kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the game looks great, and I think that the new gameplay style is really cool.
Wow, like they literally just like when you said fused, I thought, it's like it gets broken down and then like spread over, like it morphs the weapons, but literally it's those two things added together. Like the mushroom is just sitting on top of the shield.
Yep. And have you got to the pitchfork and the long stick yet?
Yeah.
That's really all it is. I think it's cool. Like it's a new element to the game.
Yeah, the stone and the stick, I thought like, oh, he grounds up the stone and like spreads it over the stick, but it's a stick with a rock stuck to the front of it.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's a rock on the shield. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So yeah, that's my big news of the week. I thought that looked really cool.
No, I'm excited. I'm a little frustrated of when I'm going to find time to play this much, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm at. So I'm trying to beat my games, and the problem is I'm getting a lot of. I'm not. This is a first world problem complaint. So I've been playing Midnight Suns, the Marvel game, and it's really fun and it's really deep. And I've been playing it for like 50 hours, and I'm not even done with like the third act. And I think there's 4 acts in the game. And I go, man, I still have so much to do. And I have Resident Evil 4 remake coming today. And so, fuck, how do I get all these games? Because when you get older, you get more busy. And, maybe Laura's going to New York for 3 days, and I can't work because I have to take care of my kid. And he's in school for 2 of those days. Hey, and it's May 12th, too. Oh, fuck yeah.
Well, look at you lucking out like that.
Fucking A. I'll be able to play it for a few hours. So yeah, that's my big news story of the week was Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, which I saw that you were able to procure a limited edition, and now when you click anywhere to find them, it is sold out everywhere.
I'm telling you, get that Hot Stock app. It'll let you know when it's available again.
Yeah.
I'm watching him build the raft. It's crazy.
I know. It's awesome, huh?
Like, even put like the turbines on it. It's just like.
Yeah. And they do this. Yeah, sorry. They do this fun little thing where he shows you the other vehicles that they've created. And that's all with you fusing items around the world.
It was hard enough just to like figure out how to fight stuff with what you have, but like adding this whole element of like you're kind of like a maker builder in the world is going to be like, wow, I have my work cut out for me.
But yeah, I mean, it's what's cool too though is that the possibilities could be endless,
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how it all plays out.
Like, it looks like you could build your own flying device to bypass that whole rewind thing.
Yep. Yeah, he mentions a balloon. So I'm guessing though you have to progress a little farther to get the items to build the balloon. But I mean it's there.
Yeah, it's cool. Can't wait.
Yeah. Cool. This is what we've been watching.
So, this is the stuff we've been watching.
Hey nerds, Corinne here for another installment of Showtime, where I talk about something cool I've been watching lately. Although for the next several weeks, I'm going to be talking about Ted Lasso and or The Mandalorian, because both of these shows are out to kill me right now. They both premiere within like 6 hours of each other between Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, and my My heart can't take much more of this. Thankfully, we only have a couple more weeks of this overlap. But yeah, so this week, I'm just briefly going to touch on Ted Lasso. I won't spoil anything today, but I will be getting into Mandalorian Season 3 spoilers immediately afterwards. So just a heads up. So for Ted Lasso, I'm really, we have 2 episodes out right now. I'm loving it so far. And I do want to do a Ted Lasso Season 3 prediction post for the website. So if you're into Ted Lasso at all, please keep an eye out for that on the website. That will be coming soon. Yes, I do know some of the things that are legitimately going to happen based on like the trailers and the set photos I've seen, but I want to look more at like the overall storylines for the characters and like where I think they're going to end up by the season finale or series finale, really. So, yeah, please keep an eye out on the website for my Ted Lasso Season 3 predictions. Okay, on to The Mandalorian. Again, spoilers for Season 3 of The Mandalorian. 3, 2, 1, Mythosaur. Oh boy, guys, I gotta agree with all of the people on the internet, all the critics who are like, what is even happening with this show? So last night, the 4th episode of this 3rd season dropped. So we are literally halfway through the season already, and I still have no idea what we're doing, no idea where we're going. Like, what is happening? I mean, with season 1 and season 2, there was this clear overarching story of, you know, Mando returning Grogu to his own kind, to the Jedi. And, you know, obviously with the season 2 finale and then the book of Boba Fett, it's ridiculous. We have to talk about that. But anyway, but the whole premise of the show kind of got turned on its head after that happened. So it's like, okay, so the show now is not about Mando eventually returning Grogu to his own kind. It's about Mando fully adopting Grogu as his kid and raising him as a fellow Mandalorian. Okay, not a bad premise, but it's just, I feel like we need some kind of a direction, and I think they're doing that with I think they're going to try to do like a Reclaiming Mandalore storyline. At least that's where I think it's going, based on, you know, Bo-Katan seeing the Mythosaur, and like so much of episode 2 was dedicated to kind of like the history of Mandalore and how sad it is that it's gone now. And I think there's a line in one of the trailers where Din's talking about like, our people are scattered like stars in the galaxy, and so my guess was that season 3 was going to be about Din just, yeah, like basically rallying all of the Mandalorians, whether it was his covert or like Bo-Katan's group, to reclaim Mandalore and to kind of, you know, to rebuild it and start taking back what was once theirs. And based on what happened in episode 2, I really felt like that's the forward momentum we have now. But then, episode 3 completely derailed it. I mean, if you guys saw episode 3, you know what I'm talking about. But episode 3, like, we take this 45-minute detour with this minor antagonist from a previous season. Not a bad idea in general, just to see, like, more of the world building and more of, you know, what the overarching threat could be to our group of heroes. But it felt like it came at a really, really weird time. And then with episode 4, we're getting more of this kind of ensemble sort of feel with, again, it's not a bad idea on paper just to like see Bo-Katan kind of becoming part of Din's covert and like sort of maybe going back to her roots as a Mandalorian, arguably, of like the whole we don't take off our helmets and we're very religious and all this. But I really just don't think this season has any direction. It does feel like a lot of setup, which could pay off later. And if it does, I'll eat my own hat. But I really just don't know where the show is going. And the fact that, again, spoilers, but in one of the trailers, we see that the Mandalorians are dropping down onto Navarro after it's been taken over by pirates, paying off some of the stuff that was set up in episode 1, which, again, that feels like such a needless side quest now, but it really just, at least with season 2, I felt like there was forward momentum from one episode to the next, right? Like, the connective tissue from 1 tied into 2, and then 2 directly tied into 3, with, like, Din returning the Frog Lady to her planet, and then Bo-Katan sent him on to find Ahsoka in episode 4, and then episode 4, Ahsoka told Din to go to this other planet, and so every episode kind of tied into the next one. But then with this season, so far, it's just been kind of just pointless. I really thought that we were going to get, the bulk of the season was going to be about Din going back to Mandalore. Like, it was going to be a lot of build-up, and, like, his return to Mandalore was going to be at the end of the season, or toward the end of the season, and it was going to be a lot of build-up about, how important his creed is to him, and, like, why he needs to reclaim, all of this stuff. And then episode 2 happened, and it was like, oh, okay, so I guess, we kind of shifted more into, from Din kind of redeeming himself in the eyes of his creed, to, okay, Din and Bo-Katan are going to reclaim Mandalore. But then, like, episode 3 derailed that. Like, we're just kind of completely shifted focus. And then episode 4, I guess we could still kind of be getting that, like, with just more character work with Bo-Katan and her kind of integrating into the covert. But if episode 5 or 6, which I'm guessing is going to be about the Mandalorians helping to retake Navarro, it's like, what is the point? Where is this going? And I hate to give the dumb neckbeards on the internet credit for anything, but I think they might be right when they complain about how much screen time Bo-Katan is getting, and they're trying to make her a co-lead character. I honestly kind of see it. I do think she's gotten a lot of screen time relative to how important she was in the show The Mandalorian up to this point. Yes, obviously she's been big in other Star Wars shows. She first debuted in the Clone Wars, and then she was in Rebels. But, and yeah, she's an important figure in the Star Wars Mandalorian lore, because she is a member of the Mandalorian royal family, essentially. But she is taking up a lot of screen time in this show, and again, not a bad thing. I'm interested to see where all of this is going, and like I said, it can be built up and it could be paid off, and I will be happy when it does. But right now, I'm just very nervous because this show does not seem to have the forward momentum of the previous seasons. The emotional core between Din and Grogu is still there, but it feels a little different now, and so far I'm not liking it. And especially if, like I said, we're going to have like a whole episode dedicated to the Mandalorians retaking Navarro, it's like, what is the point? Where is this going? I think part of the problem is that Dave Filoni, I think, said in an interview that they're looking to have, 4 or 5, maybe 6 seasons of The Mandalorian. So with the premise of the show changing drastically between seasons 2 and 3, instead of Din trying to return Grogu to his own kind, now it's more about Din fully adopting Grogu as a Mandalorian, that season 3 is now going to be set up for all of these later seasons. And on paper, not a bad plan. And obviously you have to do something to kind of transition from the premise that you had in seasons 1 and 2 into these later seasons that they're planning. But again, I feel like we should have had something. And just the fact that the first episode was so disjointed and felt so off, and then the second episode was better, and said, it had this really good cliffhanger, but then episode 3 completely shifted gears and took focus away from everything else. I kind of am losing faith in in the showrunners. I don't want to say in Star Wars as a brand, because the Bad Batch is really, really good right now. But I guess I do have a lot of questions and concerns, to be honest, because we are halfway through season 3, and halfway through season 1 and halfway through season 2, I felt like we had better direction, better momentum. And with season 3, that is not the case. I don't know where they're going. I don't know what they're doing. Anyway, sorry, I'm just rambling right now. But I just wanted to share my concerns, and hopefully the second half of the season will be much better. So I will talk to you guys next time, possibly about Ted Lasso, possibly bitching about The Mandalorian again, or more likely talking about the 2-part Bad Batch episode and kind of looking back on the Bad Batch season 2, which, like I said, has been really good so far. So I'll check in with you guys next time about something, and take care. Until then, bye.
Brad, what'd you watch this week?
A lot of stuff. I'm going to give you a rundown you can pick.
Okay, sounds good.
Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, Red Dawn, or Tetris?
Ooh. Tetris, because I think that movie looks really fun.
Yeah, it is fun. It's probably the best version you could do of a story that's just about contract negotiations. Literally a lot of the movie is them just traveling and complaining that the contracts are invalid. And I kind of rolled my eyes when they add this CGI car chase scene to the end. Because I just felt like there was a conversation with the producers where they're like, it's just a lot of people in rooms talking. We got to amp it up a bit. And the director's like, well, I put all these like video game graphics on a lot of like the normal scenes. Like, what else can we do? It's like, well, we need an action sequence. And we can't do dudes running around shooting each other. So how about a car chase? So yeah, the big action scene at the end, is them in like a little Russian car trying to escape. So that was kind of funny, but yeah, it's a fun, like, I kind of already knew the story, but seeing all the gaps filled in and everything, and they really do make people standing in rooms complaining that contracts are invalid way more interesting than it should be. There's the element
screenwriter.
Yeah. So yeah, for people listening, it's about Hank Rogers, who was like in Vegas showing off his computer version of the game Go, and then no one's buying it, so he wanders around the floor and stumbles onto this other game called Tetris, which has been out for like 4 years, but it's because it's made in Russia, it kind of belongs to the government, so it hasn't really made it outside of Russia, even though it's super popular. So this company at this trade show is selling it, and so he sells Hank the rights to it in just Japan because they haven't sold those rights yet. And then, Hank's on board. He's like selling it to banks and getting loans and trying to like get it out there. And then he finds out that everything he's been sold is like a lie, because this British media company, run by like I forget his name. But he's like a Rupert Murdoch of the time. They own the rights to it, and they've been selling it without actually owning the rights. So basically, Hank ends up going to Russia to once he finds out the Game Boy's coming out, he goes to Russia to secure no one has the handheld rights yet because they don't. No one thought that there's gonna be a handheld, so he's trying to secure them, and that's when it like unravels, and you find out that no one really owns the game. And then, I forget his last name, but Alexei, the guy who actually programmed it.
Then there's a car chase.
Yeah. So he actually made it in like C programming. So like the original version of Tetris was just made out of like keyboard symbols. So he's the original programmer. And while he's there, Hank's like, hey, what if you, got something special for deleting 4 lines at a time? And he's just like, I never even thought of that. That's great. So they improved the game a little bit. And then it's like just negotiations with cause the company he works for, Elorg, it's electronic, gaming company for the government. So he has to go through all these people. And then they just kind of, the British media companies saying like, we'll give you $1 million for it. But you don't get any residuals. And Hank's like, dude, I can go to Nintendo and get you $5 million and $1 for every game they sell. But the KGB is involved. And so like, no, you're going to make the deal with the British media company because we're going to get bribes from it. So there's all this play of like threatening his family and threatening Hank's family. So that they can get bribes instead of like selling it to the better deal. And meanwhile, the people at Alorg are like, we need, like, we get more money from the good deal. Like that helps our country. And then like, meanwhile, Gorbachev is in there and he's like, we're kind of changing to capitalism. So this whole back deal thing needs to stop. So yeah, there's all these like things at play and, yeah, it's kind of fun, but it is kind of silly at points where you're like, they really amped it up to make a movie about people talking about contracts way more interesting. So, and they have like, there's a lot of like, it's not really 8-bit, but it's like that modern 8-bit, graphics over a lot of things. Like in the car chase, when cars crash into each other, they do like this filter over it where it becomes pixelated for a second.
That's fun.
And there's like loading screens to different parts of the movie. Like, yeah, player 1, Hank Rogers, type stuff. So, yeah.
Lean into it, it's cool.
And they definitely blew their budget on like the Russian cityscapes. Like, towards the end during the car chase, they cut away to Gorbachev giving a speech. And so they have like tanks rolling in the street and they're clearly all CGI. Because, yeah, there's no way they could afford all those tanks.
Russia let them film like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I wouldn't give Russia any money, so fuck them.
Yeah, so that was fun.
Nice.
What'd you watch?
I watched it's Boston Strangler, which is on Hulu. It stars Keira Knightley as a reporter named Loretta McLaughlin, and she works for something Republic newspaper, and she is the lifestyle lady. So she reviews toasters and things like that. But she wants to, she recognizes this pattern of killings of people in the Boston area, and she thinks they're linked, and she wants a chance to report on it. But her boss, Chris Cooper, is like, you're a woman. You don't belong on the streets reporting crime. We have a crime bureau desk. And she's saying, hey, I can do this. And he says, fine, but you do it on your own time. I'm not going to pay a woman to do a man's job. And so when she does this, she starts kind of cracking the case with another female reporter there named Jean. And it's a really, like, the movie, it's just too on the nose of a woman trying to make it in a man's world. And, there's just too many cliches. At the beginning, her husband is super supportive. And then towards the end, she can't pick up the kids from school because she got this lead on one of the killings. And he goes, so now you're just going to run off whenever the phone rings? Literally line in the movie. So I think if the script was a little tighter, it would be better because the actors are all really good. It's shot really well. It has enough intrigue. I mean, the real story has enough intrigue in it anyways that it's by itself fascinating. The only bummer is it kind of undermines her whole investigation, where the Boston Strangler, people actually believe that is more than one person, because just a lot of stuff. But anyways, so she's for certain it's this like douchey Cambridge college student, and there's a lot of red herrings, and the convicted Boston Strangler is this guy named Albert DeSalvio, who is a real person. He's set up as the patsy according to the story, and the whole film plays out that way. Albert DeSilvo dies before he can be interviewed by Loretta, and then the movie ends. And the movie does say this, but they actually linked that DeSalvo guy to a couple of the murders through DNA. So he really was the Boston Strangler, even though the whole movie is this woman investigating that it's not him.
No.
Yeah. But what it does bring to light, the good, what she really did do, and even though he was, and there was possibly other ones attributed to the murders, other people, it was kind of largely being ignored, and she brought it to the forefront and got the police to actually step up and do something about it. Because back then sometimes the police weren't as proactive as they needed to be. So she did do that, and then it's also at the end said, and her husband left her. I'm like, damn, fuck. This lady's like busting her ass to be a legitimate reporter, and her story ended up being not 100% true, and her husband left her. But it's well made.
I think the real takeaway is that a man is the killer, and
yeah, exactly.
Men are just awful.
Yeah, I mean, she did bring to light the story, and it got the whole city and the nation paying attention to what was happening to women in Boston, because his MO was he would say that he was a repairman or he was maintenance for the apartments these women were living in, and then he would sexually assault them and strangle them to death. So it made people more aware, and women stopped letting strangers into their apartments. So definitely she was proactive in that way and brought to light something that the rest of the city was ignoring. So yeah, it's still, and it was well made. Just I could do without the like heavy-handed feminism stuff, which you don't need it because she's already making a difference. You know what I mean? You don't need Chris Cooper's. That's the other actress. Her name's Carrie Coon. So Chris Cooper's character, I don't need his line of "women belong in the lifestyle section." I get it.
Yeah, speaking of cliches, Tetris has a lot of that, where it's like at one point in the movie, Hank Rogers and Alexi, like Hank Rogers is trying to warm up to him, like be his friend, and like Alexi's, like he'll say, "No, I don't do American emotion." Like when he tries to hug him and stuff, it's just like, and then by the end, he's like, "Is it time for American emotion?" Yeah. And then there's like a subplot where Hank, because he's jet setting around the world, he's constantly missing his daughter's, like singing recital.
Yep.
So he'll often come home and be upset, and, she'd be like, "Daddy, you missed my singing competition." It'd be like, "Are you kidding me? Like, I'm trying to make a life for our family." And
yeah,
just like that cliche thing. But how he resolves that is actually pretty sweet. But, yeah, as you're watching, you're just like, "Oh my God, this thing again!" Like,
yeah, and it's not that I'm sure it happened to this woman, but to vocalize it is not necessary, and it just really takes you out of a film about a serial killer and this woman exposing the police's inability to solve the crime and the reluctance of the newspaper to treat her seriously. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, it's like they have confidence in the audience. Like, are you getting it? Do you get it?
Yeah, exactly. It's I understand her plight, and Keira Knightley is really good in this role, and she doesn't need Chris Cooper to say, "You're a woman. Get back to reviewing toasters." I get it.
It's like in the edit, someone was like, "I'm not sure the audience understands what she's going through." can we make it a little clearer?
Yeah, and it's really because there's no way. It's not like Kellen is flipping through Hulu and it's like, oh, the Boston Strangler. I need this explained to me why she can't be on the crime beat. Like, we get it. It was the 1960s and it was sexist and racist. I get it. I don't need it explained to me. Anyways. But yeah, I mean, it's not bad for a Hulu movie.
Cool.
Next week, we are seeing Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, which is surprisingly fresh with a 90% approval rating with like 100 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's one of those movies. I saw the trailer. I'm like, this looks pretty fun.
Yeah.
And now that it just, I was reading that it blew people away at South by Southwest of how like really cool the movie is.
I mean, they've only got everywhere to go, but up or down. What? So what am I trying to say? They really the bottom is so low, considering the other Dungeons and Dragons movies. So, which I saw clips of recently, because people were resharing it, and wow, yeah, as bad as I remember. But yeah, it's interesting because I get the same vibe from the Dungeons and Dragons trailer as I do from the Shazam! Fury of the Gods trailer.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot of like people punching CGI monsters. So it's interesting that this one is already so well regarded compared to Shazam. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I think it looks fun, and I'm always down with like people fighting dragons for some reason. That like really appeals to the young part of me.
I guess we need to do a psych eval on you and see why that is.
Yeah, I don't know why. What do dragons represent? So yeah, it's yeah, I'm excited. I'm always down to see fun movies, and I'm doing the Super Mario Brothers movie party on Sunday.
Oh, are you?
I am. Which I don't think it's something you want to go to, Brad. It's a family movie party with a lot of kids.
Oh, gross. Yeah.
But I was reading, you get to make your own coin box, and yeah, and you get mustaches and a Mario hat. So,
is that the Sunday before it comes out on Thursday?
No, it's the Sunday after it comes out. So, let me see what my tickets say. I'm pretty sure it's the 8th or something.
So you paid full price for it. You didn't wait for your.
No, it's Sunday the 9th. So I couldn't because I'm already, I think I'm in row 3, and Laura wanted to come. And so I was like, man, I need to get 3 tickets because I'm pretty sure it is either close to selling out or might be sold out by now. Let me just check.
It's Easter Sunday, so that'll be fun.
Is that Easter? Oh, shit. I'm supposed to, damn it, I might have to refund those. I think I'm supposed to have brunch with my in-laws.
Sucker.
Son of a bitch. Isn't that really Easter Sunday?
It is. The 9th? So Google calendar's telling me Easter Sunday.
Fuck! Email my wife.
I'm going to watch it Thursday night with myself and then probably some random couple 2 rows behind me.
Yeah. Wahoo!
Every screening I go to.
I think we're having a brunch, so I hope it's like at 1 or 2. Damn it! I don't want to give those up. I want my own Mario hat.
I have to tell you,
No,
can't move Easter.
Why couldn't he rise on a different day? Thanks, Jesus.
It's also telling me there's an Easter Monday, so I'm like, really? Now they got 2 days for Easter?
Well, I mean, coming back to life is hard work, bro.
Christianity is out of control. Christmas is 2 months now, and Easter's 2 days. Sick of it.
Cool. Well, thanks, Brad.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll be better by the next time we do this.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll see you at the movies. Bye.
Well, a real nerd knows who shot. A real nerd can follow the plot. And a real nerd will give it all they got. Lights, camera, action. Real nerds.
Thanks for listening to Real Nerds Podcast, a Nebulous Visions production. Stream or download episodes, read articles at realnerdspodcast.com. Stream us on Apple or Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or iHeartRadio. Follow us on Facebook, Real Nerds Podcast. Twitter and Instagram, @Real Nerds. Watch us on YouTube, Real Nerds Podcast. Email us at realnerds@gmail.com. Call us at 720-6nerds5. Thank you to Sparks Mandrill, Mike at Plan 9 Studios, and Bolognium for all of our groovy theme songs. And that's how you fucking do it!